when we lost it. We lost power here at the house.
Ah, so the last one was okay, to achieve some seclusion, and a good environment for that is a monastic environment where you can get entirely away from worldly worries. But you can also try to do that in daily life. For
Hmm.
example, meditation, sitting meditation is a way to do that, to build the resources.
Right.
Basically.
And so over time, you will begin to see things that you used to do a lot and often. You don't need to do so much anymore.
Hmm.
An example of that was in my youth because of the situation. I worked on the car, worked on the motorbike, worked on the radio, worked on all the electronics in the house because my dad was also a plumber. I worked on the plumbing. I mean, anything that happened, it was my job. That was the way that I looked at it. Now, none of those things here in Thailand are my job. I don't do any of that stuff anymore.
Hmm.
If the motorbike needs to be repaired, take it to the motorbike shop. If the car won't start, we'll call the neighbor because we got a shade tree mechanic right here in the neighborhood. So it's a complete change of attitude. You see, in the first place, it was the attitude of the loser. Look how much work I have to do, but I can do it. Into now, I've got it arranged so that I'm really the lion now because I don't have to even do anything. In other words, instead of being satisfied with all the unsatisfactory things that have to be done, now I've got it to the point that I don't have unsatisfactory things to be done. I can just stay in a state of satisfaction. And that could
But
be done also in the lay life. In fact, this is what retirement ought to be like. And yet, most of the guys that retire, they're dead within a year or two because they don't know how to handle themselves. They were too busy.
yeah,
In Thailand, a normal retirement after a man works his whole life is to go to the local wat and ordain as a monk. That's how they do it here in Thailand.
I guess that's a good environment to have lots of people who don't do a lot.
Exactly. Learn to hang out. So, in this state of satisfaction, we also have an enormous challenge ahead. And that is to eradicate all of this doubt. And we do that through the investigation of the Four Noble Truths. So there's two ways of going down the path, but the two ways wind up kind of at the same place at the bottom. And that is the way of the Four Noble Truths and the way, especially, that right noble view operates. To recognize that in the world there's really no right noble view other than everything that's happening without making any judgments about it. But on the inside, there's another kind of right noble view, and that is to see the way the mind actually operates, as opposed to just kind of assuming that you know how it operates without actually seeing it in detail. And so this is the teaching of the Paticca Samuppada. But the introduction to the Paticca Samuppada should be done through the five aggregates. Well, now, wait a minute. The five aggregates are nothing more than a bit of a rearrangement of the four foundations of mindfulness. And then we're back into anapanasati again immediately. And not only that, but we recognize, oh, by doing that step 7 of anapanasati, of exactly doing the investigation of the Sita Sankara, that's exactly the real work that needs to be done in understanding Paticca Samuppada and its various bits and pieces. That on the way, we start with ignorance and we start with the foundation of, from our childhood maps and memories, and especially are memories about how we feel. The way we feel, almost moment by moment throughout the day, is a memory of how we once used to feel. And we don't spend much time in feeling things that are unusual for us to feel, like real joy, that we would rather stay in our familiar feelings.
Right. So the feelings I experience right now show me the pattern of what's happened in the past. Like I mostly will feel the way I felt before. And that shows me what kind of person I have been up to this point.
And if you follow your destiny by continuing to follow those same patterns of feeling, then you'll continue right down the way that you're going. However, if you choose to change the way you feel, and you're strong enough and tough enough to be able to do that, you can choose the way you want to feel. And the way you want to feel is not the way you're feeling normally. And all you have to do is to remember to stop feeling the way you normally do and start feeling the way that you want to do. And I can't think of a shorter way of saying the entire teaching of Buddha just like that.
Can you remember that? Repeat that one more time?
Yes, all you have to do is to remember to stop feeling the way that you normally feel and start feeling the way you want to feel. And as you start going up that feeling good ladder, you'll say, wait a minute, this is even better this time than it was last time. And I was really satisfied with last time. And so that's basically the whole path. But the Buddha's given such exquisite detail of exactly how this operates. And your job is to recognize that, these feelings that are normal, so that you can change them. And you can do that from that state of satisfaction. That when those normal feelings come back, that pulls you out of that state of satisfaction. Watch before you tumble.
Yeah.
And say, oh no, I'm not going to go into those feelings that I normally feel. I'm going to stay at this feeling I like right now.
Yeah, so that's basically what I did earlier today and also in the past week.
That's the practice, and that's now at step 3. When we finally wind up with the knowledge and vision that this is the path of the Buddha and this is for me. It's like, hi diddly dee, the Buddha's path for me. Just off we go down that path, just boogie on down the road. Because we know without a doubt, that's the third doubt that we are eradicating. And in the process, we recognize what I thought of what was myself is not permanent. It's subject to change. In fact, it just pops up and down all the time, back and forth into existence. And really, wow, have I been attached to the way that the world works, and now I can see that there's really no happiness in the world. In fact, I begin to understand that, wow, that's really good. Oh, boundless joy to find at last there is no happiness in the world. That same world that I was so attached to, trying to get all of my benefits from, I no longer want the benefits of that world. I've got that ability inside, so that confidence grows now. And it's about to break the tipping point between the path of Sotapanna into the fruit of Sotapanna. You can see where the fruit's becoming into it. The real fruit in the beginning is that lion. I can do this. A deep self-confidence. But along with that is the knowledge of I can do this, and what am I doing? I'm watching for dukkha, dukkha nirodha. I'm not going to let stuff drag me down. I'm going to live my life and go about my ways. And if the bicycle tire goes flat, I'm not going to go flat with it. And so this is how we begin to live our life. But here's got a new quality to it. At this step 4 that we're working on is the point where, because of our unshaking wanting to stay away from suffering, we're actually willing to admit that we're wrong easily. Rather than begrudgingly, we're easily willing to do it. And I want to work with this word easy just a moment, because it's got a different context later. So we easily are willing to accept responsibility for what goes wrong. At work, you can in fact become the fall guy for everything that you've been doing that is wrong, that you've been hiding from. You begin to take responsibility. Get it off your chest. Surely you've screwed up at work someplace or another. And so we begin to work our job honestly, because wow, what a relief that is to know it's okay for me to be wrong, and I'm willing to admit it, because that's certainly a whole lot less suffering than keeping it around and hiding it from everyone. Now, the surprising thing is sometimes we're hiding things from others, and if it's exposed, they're only concerned with, well, why were you hiding it? It doesn't mean anything. Why were you hiding it? And so this is the way to start living. We start opening our heart. This is actually the opening quality, is I'm going to open up now because I want to actually be free from suffering. And I'm going to do the things that I need to do to be responsible for that, including saying what I did wrong was wrong. And so that's the 4th knowledge. And wow, what a doozy that one is.
And that step, how do you call that?
It's the 4th knowledge that is super mundane, a factor of the path, not enjoyed by ordinary people, and it is noble to take responsibility for things. In fact, it's very noble. Sometimes you're even willing to take responsibility for things when everybody in the room knows it is Johnny's fault, but you're taking it in a noble way, and they respect you for that. So yeah, that's part of the becoming the lion now. We've almost got a duty to become that lion, and how the lion does that is by taking responsibility for the situation he's in. That in fact our lionship goes beyond the skin now and starts to affect the environment. Step 5 then, and I'll go through this one fairly quickly, it's very much like our dedication to the Dhamma gets really strong now, so that we're watching for suffering and we're watching for dukkha all the time. And the way it's expressed in the sutras is, even though the monk is sweeping out or doing his duties at the temple, still his focus is on dukkha, dukkha nirodha. Back to the Four Noble Truths, back to what is suffering, is this suffering, am I in a state of satisfaction? And he keeps repeating, and so his whole life then becomes kind of dedicated to the Dhamma. And another example is just as a mother cow who has just given birth, while she's standing there eating grass, still she's got an eye on that calf. Anybody that comes up that calf, that mom's going to know it before that anybody is within 20, 30 yards. She's watching. Okay, so this is the way we begin to watch for dukkha, not let it come. The 6th step then is that when we actually take this job on in an eager way, that hot dang, this stuff is working. Now we're really getting into the fruit of it, and that's step 6. is by being on guard for suffering and staying in a state of satisfaction and sukha, we're beginning to develop almost a new personality. And one of the qualities of this personality that other people can see is the quality of eagerness. Eagerness, this built on dedication. And so, actually, the word dedication to the path is a good word, but I would not use the word devotion because that incorporates some sort of deity to be devoted to, rather than this eagerness to do the practice, because you can see over and over again the benefit of it. And so now we move to the seventh step, and that seventh step is the state of delight, when we become delighted with the Dhamma, that we're so solidly planting on it that we've got it as a foundation now. We know that we've got it, and we're delighted to stay in that state. This is not by far the end of the path, but boy, this is a nice fruit. A really nice state to be delighted with the Buddha Dhamma. You know it for sure. You can see what's going on, and you're satisfied. Now let's take that state of deep satisfaction and delight and eagerness and dedication to the path back down to that step 4 of where we start in the place of becoming responsible, or that we're willing to admit wrongdoing. That when we've done something wrong, now we're bringing delight in it, so that you become delighted in finding out what you did wrong. You become eager to find out what you did wrong. Wow. And so this is the way that it works together with the to the point of Sotapanna, is that we're eager and delighted to find out what we've done wrong, so that we can take responsibility out from it and pull it out.
So a Sotapanna is basically just a person who's really in that upward cycle?
Yes, that's it.
Like...
Because the Sotapanna starts with step 1. You cannot deny he is Sotapanna if the Buddha does not say that he is noble. That step, the first step, let's go back to that one, because it all is around that one. That's that first knowledge that no matter how the mind gets obstructed or whatever thought I'm on, I can in fact pull it out of that and come back into a state of satisfaction. And that knowledge is noble. So even at that level, one is Sotapanna. So don't look at it as Sotapanna as one big thing, but rather that it's stages that one moves through, and that the stage that an individual moves through has a whole lot to do with his dedication to the path. And that dedication comes from beyond a shadow of a doubt. I know that the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Noble Path is the way to go. Mm-hmm. And so those three kinds of doubts then are combined together at that stage 3. So this is actually the tipping point between the path of the Sotapanna into the fruit.
Yeah, and it's not like you specifically know a certain end point of how your life is gonna look like when you do it. You just kind of follow, oh, there's some dissatisfaction, let me substitute that in a way that feels empowering and that makes me happy, and just do that over and over again.
Exactly. Every lemon that you got, make lemonade out of it. All you need is a little sugar.
Is there? I'm still a little bit fuzzy about the fussy about the taking responsibility part, I guess, how that exactly can look
You
like.
will have to work that out for yourself. All I can do is give you the framework.
Okay.
But you will see in times in the future that which I'm speaking of now.
Yeah, I feel like it might also be I already got some ideas in my head, and that I'm probably trying to overthink it at the moment.
Well, I would expect you to do that. But I would also expect you to overthink it while you're overly satisfied and overly joyed and overly sharp mind so that you can overly apply the mind to see this stuff and think about it, about how the path fits together. And the one thing that we've been really weak on this conversation is Paticca Samuppada and its relationship to the five aggregates, and how that winds up being one's right view.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be an interesting, really interesting topic for the next conversations, I think.
Exactly so. And this kind of the talk I haven't given very often because I've been so focused on getting the students started. But once you come up to that state of satisfaction, we got to put that to work. We got some work to do now.
Good.
Very satisfying work.
Yeah,
And so already the dedication to the path is growing through the confidence, the shraddha. That confidence is growing, knowing you can do this.
yeah, it feels really amazing, actually. It's such a funny, yeah, to the point of being funny difference that now I kept thinking like, yeah, but if I meditate, then how long should I meditate? Because it will be hard, and then I'll get discouraged again, and then I just recognize this kind of thinking again, and then it's all right again, and I notice, yeah, just stop that.
Exactly. It
Just
doesn't matter how long you sit. How long can you be satisfied? That's a better question. And here's the thing that's really amazing. So watch out for this. Whenever you stop meditating, whenever you get off of the cushion, it's because you become dissatisfied with something.
or I gotta go to work.
That's something that's really dissatisfying now, isn't it? Be honest. Okay, so let's bring this one to a close today.
Yeah.
Recognize that really what we have talked about are the 7 stages of Sotapanna, and these are known as the 7 knowledges. So, very quickly in review, the first one is the knowledge that no matter how obstructed the mind becomes, no matter what I've got on my mind, I can throw it out. The second one is to be able to get oneself into this state of satisfaction, this jhana state. That's so satisfying, we really want to stay in it. And because we want to stay in it, we're only going to have wholesome thoughts. Those wholesome thoughts now are going to be the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Noble Path, the way that the path operates, what it feels like to be free from suffering, what is the cause and the nature of suffering, what is it that I'm doing that I can catch and start watching for so that when I'm on the parade of suffering, I don't wind up in suffering, that I can stop it along the way somehow. And so that's what we're going to talk about in the sense of Paticca Samuppada tomorrow, of how we can start interrupting that stuff as the feelings come up. But we've already got the tools and the mechanisms for that with our practice of Anapanasati. So now you're beginning to see we're putting the puzzle together here. We're getting the practice together with the theoretical part and it's almost like Now we're with Paticca Samuppada. Now we're putting the gun clip in. Now that we've got the gun assembled, we're getting that thing out and ready to fire.
Hmm.
I think I can find another analogy someplace. Maybe it's the fuel you'd put in a car that's just been assembled or something. I don't know.
Both works for me.
Okay. So we'll talk about Paticca Samuppada tomorrow.
Nice. Yeah.
And just in review, then, that fourth step is when we're ready to take on responsibility. We've got that second noble truth. Man, we're hammering on it. My problem, my job. Anything I screw up, I want to know it. I want to let it out. I'm done with this suffering. The fifth one is complete dedication and time, the way that the cow takes after her calf. Step 6 is eagerness, that you really want to study and know the Dhamma, not in words or whatever, but watch it in action. You're eager to watch what's going on. You're eager to be here now watching for stuff. And then step 7 is absolute delight, that you know how successful this practice really is. And you're delighted with it.
Great. Great.
And that's the fruit of the Sotapanna, is delight in the Dhamma. Of course, there's a whole lot of knowledges that are based upon that we have to go through one at a time. And you're already on that step 1. So now that you've got that, now it's time to build on it.
Yeah.
Now is the time to get yourself into those good feeling states.
Yeah, I want to see how much I can do that today.
All right, go play with it. I gave you a new toy.
Yeah, definitely. Great.
All right, well, we'll see you later.
Yeah, see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.